Hi, friends. Ivan Valkaringi here again. I made a videotape for just my friends yesterday, and there's only about maybe 20 or 30 of them. And I got some positive responses. Even got a couple of calls from people I haven't heard from for many years. My college roommate called me up, and I thought, hey, maybe these videos are somewhat informative and fun. So I thought I'd do it again. And I want to thank Tammy for her video. Very funny. I had the same problem. I had to cut my own hair, and I value my hair cutting people very well. And as far as the dentistry goes, I broke a tooth myself, and I don't know who's going to fix me up. There's no one around. So I'm going to have to wait, just like everybody else, for any kind of elective treatment. I'm not in any pain, thank goodness. But good morning. Very interesting coming to work this morning. There were about 20 cars in the parking lot, which is more than twice what there usually is. Usually there's about 8 or 9, and I don't know if that's a good sign. The president has been very positive about getting this economy going again. I happen to agree with him. We can't allow something like this to continue indefinitely. It would ruin everything our country stands for and what makes us strong. So I'm a big believer in prudently and judiciously going back to work. That's why I come to work every morning. I wear my scrubs. I want to stay in the routine. I want to plan for the future, which is really probably the only sane thing we can do is plan for the future and make sure we're prepared so that when we do open our doors again, we're going to be organized and we're going to be very smooth running. I want to say that there was a really heartwarming part of TV this morning. I don't remember which station, but it really was nice to see all these nurses from Utah and other non-hotspot areas that traveled and risked their health to go to New York City and relieve the frontline workers there. I know nurses and our hygienists and doctors sometimes butt heads occasionally, but I got to tell you, there's no questioning the humanity of nurses. And I just loved seeing how they went to New York City to give relief to those frontline workers who are working many, many hours. I had interesting discussions online yesterday with a Kevin King. I don't know him, but he has a stamp by his name, University of Illinois at Chicago. And so I presume he's in the eye of the storm there, helping coronavirus victims. And we had a really good discussion. Sometimes it appears like we're arguing with each other, but it's not true. We respect each other. We're colleagues. I presume he's a dentist. I really don't know. But very knowledgeable and very intelligent discussion if you want to follow that line. Of course, there are people that come on and say, "Well, you know, you're making less of this coronavirus outbreak by stating those statistics that I stated, which basically is 98% of all people will resolve, and the 2% that don't are basically from 3 risk groups." And then somebody comes online and says, "Well, I lost my brother-in-law, and this is not a overreaction." And I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings because I've lost loved ones in the last couple of years, and it's painful. And so I want to assure that person that I love all people, and it's not that I'm making light of this coronavirus. I just want it to go away as fast as possible and get back to normal life. I realize how necessary work is. It gives you purpose in life, and it gives you something to do and be productive. And so I want to encourage people to think positively. I loved hearing the president talk about the economy is going to bounce back. I really hope so. we all lost money in this last month, and our IRAs took huge hits. But it's really nice to at least think positively and look to the future with hope. So that was really heartwarming to see the nurses come to the rescue in New York City. That was really awesome. It's been about a month of this shutdown and shelter. You all know how I feel about our local dental and medical societies that shut medical and dental offices down. I don't like it. We're some of the healthiest environments there are. We should be able to help patients. That's what we're supposed to do. We protect ourselves and our patients. That's our foremost concern, is safety and health. But I won't go on that soapbox again. It's been kind of weird. I usually wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go walk Kevin. Kevin is my adopted dog. I don't know if you can see him here. He's the cutest thing in the world, and he's so spoiled now. He's even sleeping in. We're not waking up till 7 o'clock in the morning and going for our walk. And we do like 5 walks a day because that's all we can do. Thank God the weather is not good. Yesterday we had complete snowfall covering the ground. And by the end of the day, there wasn't a trickle, not even an ounce of evidence that the snow was actually there. The snow did not remain at all, not even in shaded areas. But the temperature's been very cold here. I mean, it was like 22 degrees this morning and yesterday as well. Very cold. And I'm actually glad because from what I understand, coronavirus, most viruses don't survive well in the cold. The coronavirus, though, has been acting very strange, so I don't know what its characteristic is. But usually cold inhibits, but I've heard stories that the opposite is true of this coronavirus, and those aren't the only stories that make coronavirus infection very weird as well. But the weather being cold is nice because the one nice day we had last weekend, I think it was either Easter Sunday or Saturday, it was 75 degrees out. I went to play golf on the golf course, which is closed, and I got kicked off by the police. So I don't want it to be nice because I'll start thinking about going on the golf course, which is another thing. That's one of the safest places to be, is on the golf course. There's quite a bit of distance between you and other players, and but I understand why they want everything closed down. Let's talk a little bit about health. We've taken it for granted many times until we have a lack of it, and I think this coronavirus, one good thing that came out of this, other than being able to spend more time with your family and do some projects and things that you hadn't done before, is that you realize how important it is to wash your hands. I can't tell you how many times we would go to the AMC Theater here at Oak Brook Mall, and I would go to the bathroom afterwards and leave, and it's amazing how many men walk out of the bathroom and don't wash their hands. It always bothered me. I always thought about publicly shaming them, but of course I never did. But it's so important to wash your hands. Bugs are everywhere. This one doctor that I talked to, or this one fella, Kevin, yesterday, he kind of proposes that we live in a vacuum. That's not going to happen. We're human. We love each other. We have to embrace each other. We want to be around each other. Humanity, that's what humanity's all about. We're not going to live in a vacuum, but we need to take better care of our health. And one of the things you can do very easily is wash your hands thoroughly. Disinfect your surfaces on a regular basis. One of the things people don't realize in the dental office, the treatment rooms are meticulously cleaned and disinfected. The dirtiest place in a dental office is actually the reception counter. Now, in our office, we don't have a reception counter. We have a greeting desk, and the reception counter is in the back of the office where we conduct business. We do that on purpose. But that counter has been measured with these, they're like these Geiger counters that can measure bacterial count, is always the dirtiest place. The treatment rooms are actually very clean. So doorknobs, even the the cleaning company, I told them to clean the door to the public bathroom in our building all around the handle because people push with their hands. And so that's a place that needs to be disinfected and cleaned routinely. So we're going to be more aware of our health. And so I wanted to talk about a couple of things. There's two things that probably affect more of our health than anything else. Obesity, and believe it or not, sleep apnea. We're becoming more knowledgeable about sleep apnea. Of course, we know a lot about obesity. Obesity causes all sorts of things, cardiovascular problems, congestive heart failure, COPD, the edema that accumulates, lymphadenopathy can occur, circulatory problems. Obesity causes physical structural problems in our body as well. So obesity is something that is an epidemic in our country, and we need to address it. And so many problems and so much less medication will be needed if we just keep our weight within, I would say under 34 BMI. And that's just a relative number. But at least shoot for 34 if you're over 34 and get it even below that. They say men should be, around 25, 26. Well, I'm never going to see 25, 26 again at my age. But I try to keep my BMI under 32. And I exercise every morning and do resistance training. I can't do the weightlifting that I used to do, but it's kind of nice to work out every day. I haven't done that in years. I'm actually starting to see some muscles again. It's kind of nice. But we need to exercise and go and do some cardiovascular. I know I've heard 20 minutes is sufficient. I disagree. You really need to get your heart rate up and do a brisk walk for at least 40 minutes. And of course, nutrition's part of it too. I've been working out a lot, but I haven't lost a pound because I'm eating too much. So we need to watch our nutrition, cut out those carbs, stop eating at 7 o'clock at night, forget those nighttime snacks that we all love so much. Obesity is an epidemic we need to address as soon as possible. It'll boost our immune system so we can fight off all these bugs that are out there that want to take over our bodies. And I'll tell you, when I'm not feeling well, there's always two things I look at: my rest and my nutrition. If you get your rest and you are properly fed and you're watching your diet well for the right content in your diet, you will fight off more bugs than any drug can. Have a strong immune system is probably the number one preventative thing we can do to prevent the next coronavirus. Be in good health. Sleep apnea. Now, people say, sleep apnea, what are you talking about? Well, it's a relatively new field, but we're discovering that just about everything in our lives and our health is affected by sleep and sleep apnea. If you're not getting the sleep that you need, either because of insomnia, sleep-related disturbances, upper airway obstruction, which is obstructive sleep apnea, get tested. Get to your doctor and get tested. It affects everything. It affects your heart, your respiratory, your skin, your cognitive abilities. Every single organ function is affected by the lack of oxygen, the hypoxia and hypoxia that happens during sleep apneas. It's one of the simplest tests that you can take. You can take it at home. Insurance often covers it. You can be treated simply by an oral appliance. I'm a director at a major sleep center, and I tell you, we see kids even that if we can get them on the right path and get them treated early, that they don't have learning disabilities, that they don't days off in school and are just much more productive. And we have a pediatric part that we're going to be getting up and running here soon as well. Get to your doctor and get diagnosed and get tested. If your BMI is over 34, if you snore, if you don't feel rested, if you're waking up numerous times at nighttime, polyuria is often related to sleep apnea. So enough of that. I think this video is already too long. If you enjoy the video, let me know. If you don't enjoy it, don't let me know. I'll figure that out. Thanks very much. Have a good day.